Good morning. Welcome to Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. I'm Reverend Barbara Gilday. Reverend Paul has been exposed to COVID, so he's watching online today. Let's begin today by acknowledging that this land is the traditional territory of the Lummi and Nooksack peoples, whose presence is imbued in these mountains, valleys, waterways, and shores. May we nurture our relationship with our Coast Salish neighbors and the shared responsibilities to their homelands where we all reside today. This morning we begin a two-part series at Buff regarding our commitment to sexual wholeness by honoring Transgender Day of Remembrance. I hear an echo. Part 2, Education and Affirmation, will be presented 2 weeks from today. You can find additional information about upcoming services and other events It is good to come together today, both transgender and cisgender, to show our respect and reconfirm our commitment to equality. It's a somber occasion, as we remember those who have suffered at the hands of others or who have taken their own lives in suicide. And it's a hopeful occasion, as we acknowledge and support those who have had the courage to come out of the shadows and affirm their truth. Andrea.
Good morning. I'm Kevin Allen Schmid, the music director. We are going to have a musical, responsive chalice lighting. As Reverend Barbara lights the chalice, please look in your order of service. The words are to the hymn, Sovereign and Transforming Grace. And you'll find the words just on the second page. in order of service. We are going to sing these words to Rafe Vaughan Williams' tune, The Call, that goes like this. Tom, 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 da, 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 which you may recognize. If you'd like to see the notes, they are hymn number 89 in the gray hymn book. But I suggest you just look at the words in the order of service and follow along with me to that tune in response to what Reverend Barbara will say.
As we bring the flame to this chalice, we call attention to the Spirit of grace, always within us, inviting us to grow together in love. We gather to remember today and to mourn. O healing Spirit of kindness, may we know that embraced in love, we are not alone, and that the light of love banishes the darkness of fear and loss. Spirit of wholeness, be with us, that we may all be transformed, that we may fearlessly and in solidarity step into this day as our most authentic selves. To the anxious soul impart, dwelt above the other's hopes, stir the dull and ardent heart with a longing our love. Please join together in reciting our covenant printed in your bulletin. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service gives it life. Celebrating our diversity and joined by a quest for truth, we work for peace and honor all creation. This is our covenant.
Back in the early 1980s, folk singer Fred Small wrote Everything Possible at the request of a lesbian friend of his who asked him to provide her with a song that she could sing to her young family. And Grace has been singing this to her young family ever since. We sing it today in the face of violent hatred that still rises up all too often and recently. I invite you to sing along on the chorus. Grace and I will sing the verses and the bridge, but just the chorus begins, you can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. That's the chorus. Sing along with that as we provide the verses.
We have cleared off the table, leftovers saved. wash the dishes and put them away. I've told you a story and tucked you in tight, the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me, may keep you good company. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can go any country where your heart leads, and know that I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one, special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. There are girls who grow up strong and bold. There are boys quiet and kind. Some race on ahead, some follow behind, some go in their own way in time. Some women love women, some men love men, some raise children, some never do. You can dream all the day, never reaching the end of everything possible for you.
Don't be rattled by names, by taunts, by games, but seek out spirits true. If you give your friends the best part of yourself, they will give the same back to you.
You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know that I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather friends around. You can choose one, special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. The only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done.
All right, you got your kids.
I've got kids. Hi, everybody. Hey, guys. I've got a story. Hey, I've got a story. You want to hear the story? This is a very special story about a little girl, and it's called I Am Jazz. For as long as I can remember, my favorite color was pink. My second favorite color is silver, and my third favorite color is green. Here are some of the other of my favorite things: dancing, singing, backflips, drawing, soccer, swimming, makeup, and pretending I'm a pop singer. I still totally do that. Most of all, I love mermaids.
Yeah.
You love mermaids? Yeah. Sometimes she even swims with mermaid tails in the pool. Ooh, yeah. Okay. She has two best friends, Samantha and Casey, and we always have fun together. We like high heels and princess gowns or cartwheels and trampolines. But I'm not exactly like Samantha and Casey. I have a girl brain, but a boy body. This is called transgender. I was born this way. And if you guys can see, I know you guys can't quite see these pictures, but there are pictures of her dressed up as a little boy. Look at this. She's pictures of her dressed up as a little boy. And she's really sad about it. Yeah. This is a good story, you guys. Look at these pictures. Okay, when I was very little, my mom would say, "You're such a good boy." And I would say, "No, Mama, good girl." At first, my family was confused. They'd always thought of me as a boy. As I got a little bit older, I hardly ever played with trucks or tools or superheroes, only princesses and mermaid costumes. My brothers told me this was girl stuff. I kept right on playing. My sister says that I was always talking to her about my girl thoughts and my girl dreams and how I was going to grow up and be a beautiful lady. And she would giggle, and she would giggle and say, "You're a funny kid." Sometimes, hey, can we listen to the rest of this? You mind? I'm telling it just to everybody. Everybody wants to hear this story. Sometimes my parents let me wear my sister's dresses around the house. But whenever we went out, I had to put on my boy clothes. And this made me really mad. Still, I never gave up trying to convince them. Pretending that I was a boy felt like telling a lie. I know, look at that. Then one amazing day, everything changed. Mom and Dad took me to meet a new doctor who asked me lots and lots of questions. And afterwards, the doctor spoke to my parents, and I heard the word transgender for the very first time. And that night, at bedtime, my parents hugged me, and they told me that that they understood now, and that I could be who I was, and that they loved me no matter what. Mom and Dad told me that I could start wearing girl clothes to school and growing my hair long, and they even let me change my name to Jazz. Being Jazz felt so much more like being me. Mom said that being Jazz would make me different from the other kids at school, but that being different was okay. And what's important, she said, is that I'm happy with who I am. And that is important. Being Jazz caused some other people to be confused too, like the teachers at school. At the beginning of the year, they wanted me to use the boys' bathroom, and they wanted me to play on the boys' sports teams in gym class. But that didn't feel normal to me at all. I was so happy when the teachers changed their minds. I can't imagine not playing on the same team as Casey and Samantha. Even today, there are kids who tease me, or they call me a boy name, or they ignore me altogether. And that does make me feel crummy. But then I remember that the kids who actually get to know me usually like me, and they want to be my friend. And you know what? They say I'm one of the nicest girls in the whole school. I don't mind being different. Different is special. I think what matters most is what a person is like inside. And inside, I am happy. I am having fun. I am proud. And I am Jazz. What do you think of that? Pretty good story. See ya.
Miriam Bedell will now play her harmonica to show the children out of
Okay,
church
right
to
here.
their classes.
Thank you. Yeah.
She's playing in memory of her partner, Ruth.
Good morning. Morning. Very great pleasure for me both to perform something in the first row this morning, but even more so was the feeling and the understanding of Ruth, my sweetheart. Yeah, yeah, here it is, yeah.
It's time.
I have a way to enjoy and to thoroughly present my love to Ruth. She's gone now about 10 or 12 years. Did you hear the two voices in the song there? Mine and hers? Yeah. You got it, yeah.
Good morning. My name is Henry Ohana, and my pronouns are he and him. I'm sorry I can't be with you in person today on this Trans Day of Remembrance. November 20th is a day that we set aside each year to honor and to mourn those individuals who have been murdered simply because they're transgender. The list we're able to compile is by no means comprehensive. Many people are misgendered in their death by their families or by the medical or police officials who report their murders. And in obituaries, often only the birth name is listed rather than the name the individual used. It also does not include the many people who sadly take their own lives because of being transgender. And it may be because of the stigma and violence that society directs at them, or perhaps because of their own internalized transphobia. But I do want to be very clear about these people that we're talking about who are being murdered. They are primarily and almost exclusively Black and brown transgender women. So it is a perfect trifecta of racism, sexism, and transphobia that align to put these women most at risk. Because of the caste system in this country, they're often at the bottom of the economic ladder. Many of these women are involved in sex work, some out of choice, but many out of circumstance. Sex work is inherently dangerous, and being transgender and being a sex worker multiplies that and magnifies that. Our task is to push further in the ways that we confront and account for violence. It's way too easy to have this be only a day of collective mourning. We must also look at our own positions within these structures of power that authorize the violence in the first place. To quote anti-racist, queer, abolitionist activist Sarah Lambell, she says, "We must move from sympathy to responsibility, from reflexivity to, from complicity to reflexivity, and from witnessing to action. It is not simply enough to honor the memory of the dead. We must transform the practices of the living." Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Constance Murphy. She, her pronouns honor me. On this Trans Day of Remembrance, I'd like to talk to you a little bit about my journey. My journey is mine alone, but many transgender people have a similar experience. My journey began at a very young age. I knew that I was not like other kids. I knew that I did not represent who I was. The body I was born into was not the body that I needed to live in. And I know that there were a lot of pressures on me as a male child to be a brother in a family of 5 with 4 sisters. I wanted to be a sister. But I was born a namesake. So there were pressures to maintain the family line, to fit with the male image of the 50s, 60s, 70s that I grew up in. But I grew up in a very lonely way because being myself, knowing who I was inside my head, inside my body, I couldn't bring an authentic self to relationships with people. So I really didn't have relationships with people other than superficial work relationships. I had no friends. I spent almost all of my life alone. I tried being married twice, and I was alone in those marriages. I did not have the space or the understanding of what was possible for me while I was married. So I ended my last marriage in the early 2005, around 2005, and I was alone since then. So as I walked into my home at the end of the day, shedding that male persona that I had to live in, becoming myself, living as a woman in my home, all conversation stopped. It was just me. And that's the main theme that I can remember in my life, up until I decided to transition. Just being alone. And even after I transitioned, I was seeking a community of friends, new friends. But there were times, even after I had officially come out as a transgender woman, where I contemplated suicide because I was still so alone. This journey of the trans person is one you make on your own. There's really no one to help you. So we have to be strong enough to find our way through those doors of fear, those walls that we build around us to protect ourselves. And it took me so many years, I was in my 60s, before I could actually open the door of some of those walls and start walking through them. And the thing is, walking through those walls was a revelation. My life changed in so many ways I couldn't even conceive at that time how wonderful my life could be. I can't even describe for you how different my life is living authentically as myself in the world, finding acceptance in the world of women. I craved all my life to partake in special places that women exist in, women's retreats and book clubs and things like that. And you know what? I've found that special place. I've found that love and acceptance and joy of living as myself. So on this Transgender Day of Remembrance, just understand that the journey of trans people is very difficult. And so many trans people never get to finish the journey. And it's important on us to honor them. So let's do that today. Thank you.
That things are not always what they seem. Be observant. If you're not sure how someone is, ask and listen. Make yourself available. You may be the one person, or this may be the one moment that will make a difference in that person's life. Rod and I are going to share a poem by Stevie Smith. Nobody heard him, the dead man, but still he lay moaning.
I was much further out than you thought, and not waving, but drowning.
Poor chap, he always loved larking, and now he's dead. It must have been too cold for him. His heart gave away, they said.
Oh, no, 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 no. It was too cold, always.
Still, the dead one lay moaning.
I was much too far out all my life, and not waving, but drowning.
Thank you, Rod. Kevin.
Before we share the song, The World, This Wall, and Me, we invite Erica Shepherd, longtime Buff member, treasured member, and it's active in so many ways here, to read the lyrics of the song, which is the original poem by the transgender composer, songwriter. And then after we sing it, she will give us her response.
Good morning, everyone. A few notes from the composer. This song begins in a transgender woman's dream. The post-transition of herself is sitting with friends, with her back to the dreamer, who is still presenting as male in the dream. The female turns to the dreamer and smiles. In this moment, the dreamer understands that no matter the struggle, everything will be okay. She called to me in dreams realized. I tried, but never forgot her. She danced behind my waking eyes and kissed this fish out of water. And she said, start from where you are. This wall between the world and me keeps me safe, keeps me strong. I hear the silence call me. This is who I am, where I belong. But I can't see you in all your wondrous colors. I can't feel your warm embrace. This wall protects me. I am okay, yet I am not fully in this space. Long hair tangled in my fingers, silken locks cascading to my waist. Broken memories still linger, but this is me stepping into fate. And I'll say, start from where you are. Can you hear me shouting from my side of the wall? I cried out to you, but wordless tears could not reach you. I will not let fear become my beacon. I will shine so bright, I will let you see my light. I will find this new home. I can build a rainbow to follow the storm. The wall between this world and me kept me safe, kept me strong. I stepped through the door, and here I am. This is who I am, where I belong. Now I can see you in all your wondrous colors. I can feel your warm embrace. The wall gave me shelter. Now I am okay, and I am fully in this space. Start from where you are, the composer asks us. Yet it's hard to be optimistic in the light of current events. I don't know if you've heard, but there's been another mass shooting last night at an LGBT nightclub. Yeah, it's hard to be hopeful. But 23 years ago, in a similar time and space, Transgender Day of Remembrance was started by one person in the hopes that it would have an impact on the way things were. Because of that hope, here we are, 23 years later, gathered in the hopes of making the world a better place. Start from where you are is a decision we must make every day. We wake up in the morning, there we are. What are we going to do that day to fulfill ourselves, to be ourselves, and to, in one way or another, make the world a better place for everyone? Thank you.
The Transgender Day of Remembrance is an opportunity for us to remember those who are no longer with us, those who have been killed, please join me in sharing responsive reading number 721. They are with us still. In the struggles we choose for ourselves, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who give us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of our lives well lived. We share a history with these lives. We belong to the same motion. They too were strengthened by what had gone before. They too were drawn on by the vision of what might come to be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, have not melted into the dust and have not disappeared. They are with us still. The lives they lived hold us steady. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. Take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living. I will now read out the names of those trans people whom we know to have been killed this last year in the United States. As Hank Ohana said, this list is not comprehensive. This allows us to sit with these names, to remember them, and to remember our duty, because this is not how it should be. Amare Lej, 21 years old, was a black woman. Duval Princess, 24 years old, was a black woman. Matthew Angelo Spampinato, 21 years old, was a white man. Naomi Skinner, 25 years old, was a black woman. Cypress Ramos, 21 years old, was a Latina woman. Tatiana LaBelle, 33 years old, was a black woman. Catherine Katie Newhouse, 19 years old, was a Filipino woman. Kesha Webster, 24 years old, was a black woman. Mia Love Parker, 24 years old, was a black woman. Fern Feather, 29 years old, was a white woman. Ariana Mitchell, 17 years old, was a black woman. Ray Muscat, 26 years old, was a white man. Sasha Mason, 45 years old, was a Latina woman. Nedra Sequence Morris, 50 years old, was a black woman. Maddie Hoffman, 47 years old, was an Asian woman. Chanalika Iella Dior Hemingway, 30 years old, was a black woman. Brazil Johnson, 28 years old, was a black woman. Charmaine Giselle Marie McClam, 27 years old, was a black woman. Kitty Monroe, of unknown age, was a black woman. Cherry Bush, 48 years old, was a white woman. Aaron Lynch, 26 years old, was a white man. Martasia Richmond, 30 years old, was a black woman. Candy Red, 29 years old, was a black woman. Hayden Davis, 28 years old, was a black woman. A.C. D. Morrison, 30 years old, was a Native American woman. Dee Dee Ricks, 33 years old, was a black woman. Regina Maya Allen, 35 years old, was a black woman. Samaj Billingsley, 33 years old, was a black man. Keshia Chanel Gett, 26 years old, was a black woman. Maricela Castro, 39 years old, was a Latina woman. Tiffany Banks, 25 years old, was a black woman. For all these people, I light a candle. I light another candle for those who have died of suicide. I light another candle for those who were killed last night in the Q nightclub shooting in Colorado Springs. I invite you now, if there is a trans person you knew who is no longer with us, to speak their name aloud or to yourself. I light a candle for those named today. I light another candle for all those whose names we may never know. I invite you all now to sit in silence, to remember those left behind and bring them into our hearts. Though they are gone, they will not be forgotten. We must not forget them. And we must not forget that this is not how it should be. Please join me in sharing responsive reading number 720. We remember them. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and in the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we celebrate with our friends and families, we remember them. When we grow in our understanding of who we are, we remember them. When we love deeply those around us, we remember them. When we have joys we yearn to share, we remember them. So long as we live, they too shall live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember them.
Thank you, Walt. And thank you, Erica. This congregation does so many things, both for one another and for the community at large, to support peace, justice, equality, and love. Each one of you is a gift to Buff. If you're going through a good period, Buff needs you. And if you're going through difficult times, we offer you the opportunity to be held in love. And now we invite you to open your hands and your wallets to give the wherewithal to support Buff in all we do for one another and the world. Will the ushers please come forward? Just like to invite everyone who's here to go downstairs for coffee hour. Ooh, in the back of my car, there are goodies left over from last night. We'll get those downstairs. And if you are a visitor here today, please take a red mug, and that will help us to know you're visiting and for us to make a point to visit with you. And if you're online, please stay for a little while and chat online. We are all born of love. When the day comes that the will to remain the same is more painful than the risk to grow, we recognize that the greatest loss is what dies inside us while we live. Our life shrinks or expands in proportion to our courage. May we each stand in love and solidarity when one recognizes the need and steps into their more authentic self. May we all be strong, vulnerable, brave, and wise. May we be true to ourselves and to the beliefs that bind us together in community. Let nothing frighten us, for all things must pass. Love and peace is its reward. It is the principle and the only purpose of existence. Amen and blessed be. And now let's find a way to connect with the person next to us and sing Circle Round.